Kerala Literature Festival, Asia's largest literature festival. At this venue, THOOLIKA, we now have the session titled The Lighthouse Family, Firat Sunel in conversation with Milee Ashwarya. For this year's KLIF, we are proud to host our guest nation, Turkey. Firat Sunel presently serves as the ambassador of the Republic of Turkey to India. He is not only an accomplished international lawyer and a seasoned diplomat, but also an established author. Among his published works in Turkish are Izmirli, My Last Love, The Lighthouse Family, and In the Shade of the Weeping Willows. The latter was adapted to a television series. His works have been translated into multiple languages, including Malayalam, Kannada, and Tamil in India. With much reverence, we welcome you to the Kerala Literature Festival, His Excellency Firat Sunel. Now we have Ms. Milee Ashwarya. She's the publisher of the Adult Publishing Group at Penguin Random House, India. During her career, she has published a range of bestsellers across genres. An award-winning publisher, her focus has been on championing diverse voices, discovering talented debut writers, and building on the inclusive programs at Penguin Random House, India. With much love and respect, welcome to Kerala Literature Festival, Milee Ashwarya.
Thank you so much. I know it's afternoon, lunchtime, but I'm happy to see some people here. I hope we'll have many more as we go along in the conversation. But good afternoon to all of you. I'm very happy to be here again in Calicut. I was here last time, and I think it just amazes me to see the fervor and the passion that people have for books. It's also lovely to be in conversation with Firat Sunel, who's come out with his new book, The Lighthouse Family. It's also been translated into Malayalam, and we are going to see ourselves and also show you the Malayalam book for the first time here. So let's put our hands together for the Malayalam edition of The Lighthouse Family. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So I'm going to dive straight into the whole transition that you've made from being a diplomat, a lawyer, a scriptwriter, now finally an author. This is actually your third novel. So how's this journey been, and how did you get into writing, Firat?
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to tell that I am very happy here. In our previous session, I was as ambassador of Turkey, but now just author Firat Sunel. So that's true. I am a lawyer, a diplomat, and also an author. And all this through occupation, you have to work with your pen. And even as diplomats, in our rank, diplomatic ranks, they always something to do with secretary. Secretary means the secret writers. So we diplomats, we all love and do writings. But my affection for writing, it's long before I become a diplomat. When I was in my third grade in primary school, so I read the book Robinson Crusoe, and then I was so impressed by this book. And then I said, I have to also write a novel. And then I just took a very thick notebook and started writing a new novel. So that was just an imitation of Robinson Crusoe, but as a child, that was a new novel for me. But the interesting thing is, I haven't started, I have completed this book. My version of Robinson Crusoe. I gave also a name, the George from Africa. That was the name. And then one day, I was very proud with this notebook, which is supposed to be my first novel. And then my teacher saw me, and I say, Firat, come, what is it? I was so crushed up, and I said, oh my God, she will be now angry with me because I waste my time for such nonsense instead of sitting and reading. I really felt like this. I was so afraid. And I just gave it, what is this? And I said, teacher, this is my novel. What? My novel. Did you write a novel? Yes, I wrote a novel. And then she just took my notebook, just skimmed for a few seconds, and then she said exactly like this. She turned to the classroom and to my classmates. Hey kids, did you know that your classmate Firat wrote an excellent novel? So from now on, every day in the morning he will come in front of you. He will just read some passages from the book. So that is the beginning of my journey. Because thanks to my teacher. So because this is very important. The occupation, the profession of a teacher, I think it is the most important one. Because it depends on you, whether you create a good, well-educated, happy generation or not. It's on your hands. So it starts like this. And that was my dream from that time. I said, I want to be a novelist, not only just an author. I said, I want to be a novelist. And then I start writing short stories, and then I become a diplomat. It has always been my dream, besides being a diplomat, being a novelist. But I said, writing a novel is not so easy thing. Okay, you have to read a lot of things, you have to write, but you have to develop your own style. And in my words, your pen, because we are writing with pen, must ripen, must be mature. So you cannot just say, I have ideas, I have a very nice topic, and then I will just start and write novels. So it's impossible. So I have never felt ready to write a novel, and my dream was, I will write one my day after I get retired. Okay, my first book is also in Malayalam, it's also here. Thank you very much, Shahana. So, I wrote short stories. I work as freelance journalist when I studied. But writing a novel was an idea in the future after I get retired. So, and then when I was in my 40s, I was in Georgia as Deputy Ambassador of Turkey in Georgia. And then I met some people. These are people of Turkish origin. They were expelled during World War II by Stalin to Central Asia, and 100,000 of them, and many of them died during this exodus. This book is about this drama. So, one day I talked with the people, 80 years old, 90 years old, who survived this exodus, the forceful expel. And then I talked with them, they told me their stories. Really, very, very sad stories, but all real stories. How they lost their loved ones, family members. And then, one day in the morning, I remember, I felt suddenly my pen is ripened. And then I start writing this novel. So this is my first novel, In the Shade of the Weeping Willows. That became bestseller in Turkey, adapted the Turkish series, and even a doctorate thesis was written in this book. So I became a writer long before my retirement. I have now altogether 4 books. 3 of them are novels, and one is academic about international law. But to tell the truth, I feel happy when I write novels, fictions.
Well, you started very early in school and you got encouragement and mentorship early in the form of your teachers' encouragement. I think that is really important, I think, in our lives to feel that you're on the right path. And now you're out with your 3rd novel, which is set in the backdrop of World War II. And it's a slim book, but it is a powerful book. It tells the story of this little Kale's family. I'm not going to give you all the details. You have to read the novel for yourself. But it is a very moving book about what war can do and how, in the novel you've shown how the quiet life, family life, just gets completely disturbed, by what happens in World War II and to the family that takes care of the lighthouse. Tell us a little bit about, how war sort of tore their family life apart.
Thank you very much. So this book is a historical fiction. You said very truly, how war destroys the life and families. And this book is about the Second World War. It starts in the early days of the World War II. But Turkey was not even a part of the Second World War. Can you imagine? We were not in the Second World War, but the life of families and people destroyed during that war. We felt it in forms of poverty, deprivation. And this book is told from the eyes of a little boy. They live in a lighthouse in Western Turkey, far away from everything, far away from everywhere. So just a lonely lighthouse, like this one here, you see. The next village is 2 hours on walk. So he lives in that lighthouse with 2 siblings. They all together. They spend all the time together because they don't have any other friends. They share the life together. And then the war happens. The elderly people feels, the consequences of war because we had to feed 1 million soldiers in case German decided to attack Turkey. We had to keep them in reserve. But keeping 1 million soldiers in reserve in 1942, it needs so much money. And then we felt the consequences of war as a privation in Turkey. So the elderly people knows, but for our 3 brothers and sisters, 3 siblings, war is just a game. They just consider it's a game, nothing happens and so on. But one day, they woke up very early, they see fires on the islands, 2 Greek islands, Chios and Lesbos, just in the shore of Turkey. Because German planes came and bombed the islands and occupied the Aegean Sea. So that's another country just in front of Turkey, but even this shows how the life changes. Their whole destiny, their whole life. Can you imagine? Even for a small family living away from everything, even their life is affected from the war. So this is, as Milee pointed out, is not a thick work, but this is not just about World War II. It starts during that time. But it has also other stories about Turkey. For example, forceful migration. Indian people also find something in this account about this. We all have memories about this. And also the history of Turkey's political turbulent life in 60s, after World War, in 70s, in 80s. So although it's not a thick book, there are so many topics about Turkey's near history.
No, absolutely. You've covered various themes in the book, right from displacement to disruption of family life, war, and also what happens to children, which is something I'll come to a bit later. But the details in the book, are also quite vivid, whether it's of villages, of people, and of, the community. So how did you research for the book and how long did it take you to write it?
Okay, thank you. It's a very important question. If you write historical fictions, you have to make really good and thorough the researches, because you cannot just write anything. And then both of my books, they are historical fictions and about Second World War. And you have to know everything, the daily life, what is happening there. And if you don't know, and if you don't feel like in that time, you have to feel. Otherwise, you cannot write. Otherwise, your reader, when they read it, they just feel as if they are reading a contemporary work. It is not easy. For example, this one, my first novel. You can check in the first page, there is a scene, the teacher of the village. It starts with the teacher. He just opened his door, it's midnight, he took a cigarette and then light a cigarette and starts smoking. So, it's nothing important, right? It's a frivolous detail, just smoking a cigarette. But it doesn't happen now. It happens 1944. Whether there somebody can find such things in World War II, or can get it if it's available, whether a teacher working in a mountain village can get it. So it is just this one sentence that you read in 1 second took 2 months for me to research. And for Lighthouse Family as well. I was walking, in the nature in Izmir, where is my hometown. I was behind new stories, looking for new people, new stories, and so on. And then I saw a rusty sign saying Sarpıncık Feneri. Sarpıncık Feneri means the lighthouse in Sarpıncık. This is the original name. I think I cannot concentrate because of... Okay.
I think let's continue and...
yes, I will try, okay. So that was just a rusty sign saying Sarpıncık Feneri. So it sounds so mysterious. And then I said, oh, the lighthouse, I want to go. It has taken 2 hours to walking there from mainland to there. And then I saw a lonely, abandoned lighthouse. And then I said, this lighthouse must have a story. But I didn't know, nobody was there, just an abandoned building. But then I followed this issue, and then I met with the keepers, retired keepers of this lighthouse. He was the last keeper of the lighthouse. He worked as keeper for 28 years. He spent 28 years. And then not all. He was born in this lighthouse because his father was also lighthouse keeper for 32 years. So I met a precious person who spent 60 years in a lighthouse. And then we became a good friends. He was 80 years old at that time. We went several times to there, just spent hours. We had picnics, talk about Lighthouse, about his story, about his memories and so on. And then I said, it will be a good novel. But I didn't know how to start. And one day I said, look, you know what happened? You know the islands. The German occupied the islands during the Second World War. And then the partisans who are fighting against Nazi occupation. Among them are also young people. They were executed immediately by the soldiers. That's why young people, young partisans, they just get into their small boats and try to search refuge in Turkey. And then I said, yes, I found my story. That is, how I am going to start and then end. So that was, I will not give any spoiler, of course. This is the, main structure of my story. But indeed, writing historical fictions are not easy. This is, for example, it took 5 years to write and complete. And the idea of writing this book was 9 years idea. But writing was faster because it's a work of pandemic, curfew time. So everything was ready in my mind, and then within 1 year, I was able to complete this.
No, absolutely. I think, like you said yourself, historical fiction requires research, time, and you have to be correct with dates, details, and everything around the story. Although there are a couple of themes that you have dealt with in the book, one of the things that really struck me was what war does to children and how their lives get disrupted. The narrator of the book is little K, a young boy when the novel starts. And we see how war ravages his life. So what are the scars that were left behind, and how did his life alter because of the war?
Yes, our childhood make our future, and that's why in the prologue of my book I quoted a sentence of
Yes, which I really like.
Yes, your
childhood is your homeland.
Yes, your childhood is your homeland. It really plays a big role in your future, where you spend your childhood, whether your childhood was a happy childhood or you had big problems, because happiness and traumas, they go generation to generation. So in my book, the little boy who is just 10 to 12 years old, he had a very happy life, although he lived in poverty. The first chapter is named The Happiest Year of My Life. When our author, our protagonist, explain his life, he has nothing, really. He has to study, in the light of the flashing light of the lighthouse, because they didn't have any electricity. They didn't have even kerosene. Because of the war, they get just limited. They had very old clothes. They have no friends, but they were happy. So, but it changed. Because of the war, not only their life changed, their family is also changed. We see in my book the strong family ties, but also betrayals, also some feelings, for example, the feeling of guilt, which can follow you by the end of your life. So what you witness in your childhood affected your future life, and that's why our protagonist, he had not a tranquil life in the future as well.
No, absolutely. We don't have much time, and I do want to take some questions from the audience. So before we get to that, I have one last question. Firat, how is the novel relevant to the current times? We are seeing a lot of strikes across the world. We are seeing families getting destroyed and a lot of other things. So when you read it, actually, you get reminded of what is happening around us in today's world. So how do you see its relevance in today's times?
It is relevant with our times, as you said, because war is a part of our life, unfortunately, I would like to say. And, in the beginning of our conversation, I said how the war changed the life of the people. And Turkey was not in the war of the, in the war. But their life changed, although they were not in the war. But nowadays, things happens not very far away from here. Every day, more than 110 Palestinian child die. By now, the death toll of Palestinian children, it's about 9,000. I really hate, using numbers when I explaining a human drama, but I have to do it. 9,000 children, and the number is bigger than the loss of children for the last 5 years globally. You know, and we just say 9,000 children. No, this is not 9,000 children. Each number is a life, and each number is not just a life, a dream, a future. When you kill somebody, you also destroy the future, destroy the families, destroy the dreams. There are more than 9,000 children now without dream. They were killed. So that's why it's relevant with our time.
Thank you so much. We are now going to open the floor for questions. So if you have any question in mind, please raise your hand and we'll pass the mic around. Any questions from anyone?
I think everybody is happy without question.
Okay, then I think we can take maybe one last question.
Okay.
And if you still think of something, you can raise your hand and we'll come to you. I did want to talk about briefly about the role of memory and how you use that in the novel, because little K comes back. You know, he comes back, he writes letters to his sister. There's this family portrait picture that he sends his sister, and we see this constant play of memory in the book going forwards and backwards. Was that a conscious decision, or it was part of the style of your writing?
Yes, it is. It's a conscious decision. I would like to give the readers the feeling of nostalgia. I would like to give the reader just a part of their own childhood, because it doesn't make any sense when you lived or where you lived. Our childhood is more or less similar. And then the role of memory, it is very important because our lives are built on memories. As I said, if you have, for example, an unhappy childhood, if you lose your parents or something like this in your earlier age, then you carry the scars all over your life. And this is the meaning of your life. We have a word, a phrase in Turkey, kubbede hoş sada bırakmak, we call it. It means to leave a nice echo in the room. So we are temporary, all over temporary in this world. And our aim is, if we live and leave a nice echo in the room, I think this is the meaning of life.
Well, thank you so much, Firat, and congratulations on the Malayalam edition and the English edition. Both are new books. In fact, the translation came out very quickly, and we were talking about that earlier. So good luck to you. For all of you here, the author will be around. He will be signing copies. So if you want to get a copy of The Lighthouse Family in English or in Malayalam, and the other book too,
Yes, they are all
they'll be available in the
yes.
bookstore. You have a question? Okay.
Merhaba,
Merhaba.
Firat Bey. Herkes savaşıyor. Hayyada savaş var. Ya da kendiyle savaşıyor ya da dünya savaşıyor. Bu zaman ne düşünüyorsunuz bu savaşta? Kendiyle savaşıyorlar. Kendi kendinle, kendi hayatıyla savaşıyorlar.
Yes, shall I translate it?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Shahane speaks Turkish. We met last year when I visited the previous Kerala Literature Festival. And then she promised to be our translator for our books from Turkish to Malayalam. So she asked about war. Everybody is in war with each other. And sometimes we are also in fight with ourselves. This is true, but I think I explained, war is a phenomenon. We have to accept this, but not approve this. And then we have to fight against war altogether. It shall not find any place in our lives. We can fight with each other because it makes us stronger. Not each other, with ourselves, sorry. We can fight with ourselves, but not each other. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. With this, we come to the end of our session. I hope you enjoyed the book. Oh, we have one last question. Can we take one last question? Yeah, I think we have 2 minutes to go. Can we please pass the mic?
It's not actually a question. Okay. And part of my fluency also. Turkey, in fact, is very dear to Malayalam readers. In fact, I haven't read your book, and I'm going to read it anyway. But Orhan Pamuk is dear to us as Marquess, in fact. And I had the lucky opportunity to go through the travel log of Ibn Battuta recently. And he was staying there for, I think, for 30 or 35 days during the time of Byzantine Empire. And he has vividly pictured the picture of Constantinople then. And this is not actually a question, I said. And recently, one of our great writer, Zakaria, had toured all over Turkey, Anatolian Empire, the Iberian, and we have a very clear picture of the Turkey and the surroundings. That's been a really great experience. And I think, in fact, I consider myself a host of you because you are our guest nation, and I hope all those who have come from Turkey will have a good stay and happy experience here. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much for your nice words. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Firat sir and Aishwarya ma'am, for your valuable session, wonderful session.